Alright, yo, back with another one. Doing shoulders today. I always like to start out with rear delts to kind of pre-exhaust, and it's just because it's one of the least exercised area, even for me still. So I prefer to start with these and go a little heavier and try to really focus on technique. One thing I've noticed lately is the way I'm leaning in is maybe not ideal, and I tend to tuck my chin in, and I think I kind of just hunch back a little bit or sorry, hunch forward a little bit, and it just overall kind of feels awkward. So first one, I usually working set go for about 170. Second one, typically lower it about 15 to 20%, as with all exercises. Usually, I do a couple of warm ups and then do the heaviest I can, 8 to 12 reps. Follow up set is typically 15 to 20% lighter, and I try to go for higher volume if I can, like 12 to 15. So you'll notice here the hunchback, like I'm talking about, or hunch forward, I guess, if you will. So yeah, chin down and sort of rounded forward. And I partly do this because I'm trying to rotate and flare out my wrists a little bit so I can really focus on the rear delt, but overall it just feels kind of awkward. So what I tried next is basically to be a little bit more forward and kind of, as you see at the beginning there, not hunch forward. So instead I'm standing more upright, chest touching the plate, keeping head more even with my spine, and trying that out to see if it hits better. I do feel it in the rear delt, but I'm actually noticing a lot in the lats. I don't know if it's because I did back yesterday. That would probably explain it, but yeah, this is a hard one for me to feel in my rear delt. So if anyone happens to be watching this and has any tips, or if they see anything off here, please do let me know, because as I mentioned, rear delts is just one of those things that are like impossible for me to grow. So this, I just filmed an extra set just with this different angle of me being more upright and not hunched forward. Typically after rear delts, I usually like to do heavy pressing. So this, after my warm up, I do hundreds. Try to go, like I said, 8 to 12 for my first working set. And I try to go slow in the negative. A lot of people I see kind of just smashing these and spamming them, and that can work in certain cases, but I feel like I grow a lot better when I go really controlled, or once I started going controlled on the way down and really just trying to focus more on the negative. So yeah, first working set, I think I got about 11 here. Second set, as I mentioned before, I dropped 15% or 20% here. I went from hundreds to the 85s. You can see still going pretty controlled down, trying to go for more volume. And like I said, this has just helped me really grow a lot more versus what I used to do before, which is just go a lot quicker, both on the eccentric and concentric. So yeah, going for more here, getting some different angles. I do like the incline on the 6 instead of like straight up. It just feels a little better, and I'm able to kind of rack the weight to me a little easier. Next, we go for seated laterals. Didn't really get a lot of good angles here because I didn't want to film a bunch of people, but I did seated 15 and 25 for a couple sets. Typically after that, I like to do another rear delt. I usually do these rear cable flies, or rear rope flies, whatever they're called, face bowls, standing, but I've lately been doing them kneeling because I feel like it gives me even more control and I can get kind of different angles. One variation I like to do for these is actually get either a longer cable, sorry, I keep saying cable, rope, if I can find it, so I can actually go even farther, because really the motion you're going for here is like a front double bicep, and you want your arms to be even farther away from you and go even farther behind your head, which is harder to do with these smaller cables. Didn't go too heavy on these because my shoulder by this point just starts really getting messed up, so that's one unfortunate thing. I get a lot of issues all around, to be honest. Shoulders, left knee, elbows, triceps. I mean, just a lot of inflammation. So I've been trying to figure out different exercises, different angles, what works and what doesn't, to manage the pain. And a lot of mobility and stretching, which I don't really film, has been helping me to try to do more internal and external rotation type mobility stuff at the beginning, especially when I'm doing shoulders. So finishing up face pulls here. And yeah, these are always a pretty good one for me, at least for rear delts. And typically as a finisher on shoulders, I'll do either another pressing or lateral or whatever I'm feeling here. There's this new machine, kind of like a standing lateral raise machine. This one feels pretty good. There's also a seated one that works well. I actually do a variation I might film one time where I do rear delts on that one where I kind of crouch down. So it's a seated lateral machine, but I crouch down and sort of put my elbows inside and I do kind of bent over rear delt flies with the machine. But for this one, this is kind of a first sort of warm up set, and then I try to go a little heavier. But by this point, my shoulders are pretty fried, so I don't want to go too heavy and then regret it later. So final set here, finishing up, going a little heavier, trying to explode on the way up and control as much as I can on the way down to note the negative as usual. I think I'm pretty good range of motion there. I don't think I really need to go higher. So seems a good 2 seconds on the way down. To me, this seems good, and I definitely feel this one. So I think my biggest struggle definitely still is rear delts, and that's something I continue to try and improve, and will continue to try and improve moving forward. And finally, some shots here, trying out this posing mirror in the bathroom. Not really too comfortable. Haven't really ever recorded myself filming in the bathroom, so that's why I'm kind of shuffling here. The goal was to try and get some front delt, side delt, just overall delt shots, but instead got whatever this was.
Trick shot. Damn it. So close.